Just a few particularities about owning a solar system. You have a lot of threaded stuff up here, a lot. And so once every so often, solar systems, by the way, are very dynamic. On a cool day like today, if you don't have your timer on, it's going to be nice and cold up there. And then, of course, it can get up to like almost 177 up there. That's a lot of expanding, contracting, things like that. Anything that's threaded, just have a look at it now and then. Just kind of glance up top there. If you see any watermarks or anything like that, have a look, you know. And if you see anything, call us up, text us a photo. You see what I'm saying? I'd like you to see this thing right here. This right here is a vacuum brake, okay? And that is basically meant to keep the plastic pipes inside your house from imploding, okay? Your plastic pipe, the CPVC plumbing inside of your house can take positive pressure from the inside. But if it gets negative pressure on the inside, just like the Thresher back in the 60s, it'll implode. And so you don't want that because that makes a mess. So that's why they have that there. For any reason the house is becoming depressurized for whatever reason, if there's negative pressure, that will break the vacuum in there. And a lot of times people draining their tank, that's a lot of force at once that wants to suck it out. Now, speaking of which, I don't know if anyone reviewed this with you, but once every so often, we want you guys to flush out your tank, and here's why. You have a sacrificial anode rod inside here, okay? And what that's going to do, it's an amalgam of about 3 different metals, softer metals, and the scaling that would attack the walls of your tank, ideally should be attacking that first. And it's going to make that rod decompose. It's going to decompose into sandy particulates. As they drop down, they're going to hit the concave bulkhead at the bottom of your tank. And as they hit that, they're going to roll off to the side there. That might want to get sucked up by your pump. That's no good. So once every 6 months, we recommend, or if you want to do it once every 3 months, that's cool too. Grab a nice fat slot screwdriver. First, you're going to take this cap off here. You're going to hook your hose up to it, out to the street. And then all you have to simply do is take your slot screwdriver, 90-degree turn, you've opened it up. That's about a 5/16 hole in a ball valve there. It's going to allow little grits to come out. Have it going across concrete, and do it in the morning. Do it early in the morning when this region is nice and cold. That way you're not robbing yourself of any hot water. And have it, like I said, have it go over the concrete so you can actually look at it, and it will be almost like panning for gold, okay? You're going to see these small white particulates come out. Once that stops, sometimes I put my hand in the way there and just let the water run through my fingers, and I can actually feel the grits as they're impacting my fingers. Later on, when I'm not feeling that, we're done. You just go ahead and shut that 90 degrees back, unscrew your hose, restore this cap, and you're done. That's it. Like I said, about once every 3 to 6 months, go ahead and do that, and that should be very good for your system. The other thing I want to draw your attention to is your ball valves. This one is probably the easiest one to take a look at. You have a handle on here, and that handle, it actually has a rectangular or flattened sides here to grab this specially milled shaft here. This shaft has 2 flat sides to it, as you'll see there. And so that's how your handle grabs the shaft. But what you're going to see is that you have a nut holding your handle on there, but behind your handle you have a packing nut. That packing nut is going to hold in 1 or more O-rings that's designed to keep the water from shooting out through the orifice that the shaft occupies. Now, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Watch this. When you shut that, that's righty-tighty. But when you're loosening that, lefty-loosey, if there's any friction between your handle and that back nut there, you're going to loosen that back nut inadvertently, and water will ever so slowly weep out. And so if you have, I recommend a 6-point sockets on here, especially for that little brass one behind there, because if you try using a 12-point socket to grab it, you can actually shave off the corners of that brass nut. So rule of thumb on all of these yellow handled valves, to take off the handle, use a 14 millimeter. To go ahead and tighten the packing nut, 12 millimeter. Okay. That one up there, I'm going to experiment tightening that right now. I don't know which one is that. That's the one that was provided with the house. And so we'll figure that one out. I don't see a packing nut behind that one. I think the actual handle one itself does that. So I'm going to have fun with that one for a while. But that's basically it with that. I do caution you that stainless steel is a little bit harder than brass. When you're putting this nut back on there, okay, If you can't make 2 or 3 full rotations with your fingers, then you're going to want to cross thread when you start applying torque. So go ahead and just back it off until you feel that click, that old trick with finding threads, and do it until you get 2 or 3 full rotations with it. Otherwise, you run the risk of shaving off the threads on the post. That's no good. Let's see. Please don't adjust your mixing valve. If it's just too hot, either mix it at the faucet, or you can give me a call at my cell number and I'll arrange a way for me to come out here and paint those block out bars on your panel. I think that's it finally. Yeah.